one in my heart. Bob Chandler's on the phone. What's up, baby? How you doing, Bob?
Great. How you, Jeff?
You know what? I'm doing good, my friend. I'm doing good. Just a little bummed, last show, and but thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate it. I enjoy it.
Oh, it is. It is. So, Bob, for all the sports fans out there and all the monster truck fans, let's start from day one when you decided you were going to put the big blue truck in the arena.
Well, how do I start? It actually started out as an exhibition truck. I had a 4-wheel drive shop.
Uh-huh.
And I put big tires and big wheels on it, of course. And you want to impress everybody. You want everybody to come to your shop and buy more products. So I put everything I could on the truck, from lights to roll bars to suspension kits and everything else. And to me, it was kind of a no-brainer. You show people what you can do, and I get a lot of business out of it. So it was great for me. And to go out in front of a crowd for the first time, which was several years later after this business, was just spectacular.
Well, Bob, number one was really basically your mode of transportation to get to and from everywhere. And then on the weekends, you were bringing it out to these shows and stuff. I've heard stories, so please tell me if it's true. I heard that sometimes you went out there and you had tools and stuff in the back, and when you went over some stuff, that tools flopped out. Was that true or not?
Well, that happened in the first car crash we did. I did have tools, and there was some lumber in the back of it, and it went over the top of the cars, and it all flew up in the air and bounced right back down into the truck. But, that was down the road a ways. And it was our personal truck. My wife Marilyn and I, and we take the kids and on weekends and go camping, with the truck. And later on, I started going to 4-wheel drive events and mud runs and truck pulls and things with it, and the vicious cycle just kept getting busier and busier and busier. Everybody seemed to like it, and I did too.
Well, that's the truth, man. I can see the passion for it. Bob, your passion portrays down into your drivers and stuff. When you're looking for a driver to hire a new driver, what do you look for in a driver?
Well, we get a lot of people that apply, and when we need another employee, we'll hire somebody that has the qualifications. They got a good personality. They've got to be mechanically inclined. They've got to have the license to drive the tractors across the country, and they come on as a crew person.
Uh-huh.
And after they're familiar with the way we do things, and we need another driver, for instance, for just a display with the truck, then we'll put the guy in the truck and he does some displays. And what I've done over the past is, when we have a test track where we set up a car crush, at our shop, and let new drivers drive the truck, I always put a camera in the cab, but the camera is facing the driver. And, almost instantly you can tell whether a driver is a natural or if he's got to think of, what do I do next, what do I do next, what do I do next. Some people get in there and everything they do is smooth.
Uh-huh.
They're the guys that are in the race trucks.
There you go. Bob, when you first started this, did you ever think that the business was going to go like it is today?
No, there's no way. Marilyn and I would talk, at the end of the year, and we'd say, we got to keep going as many shows as we can, because this is not going to last. But one of my favorite things is my idol in the motorsports business is I just went blank here. You have to give me a minute.
That's okay.
The guy that set the land speed record with, gosh darn, that's terrible. Well, I'm 70 years old, so I don't have to remember things anymore.
Bob, I wish I could remember everything you forgot. I'll guarantee you that right now.
Shoot, I'll think of that in a minute. I'll get back with you on that. That's terrible.
That's no problem. Is it Art Alphonse?
Art Alphonse. That's the man. He's my idol, and I forgot his name.
Race Kid 86. Come up with that. Go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
He came to, I was at an event here in St. Louis, and I was talking to him, and I says, yeah, you got to keep going to many shows, because we don't know how long it's going to last. And he sits back, and he was at a little lawn chair there, and he says, yeah, I told myself that 30 years ago too. and it's been 37 years now. So
isn't it amazing?
Right.
Bob, out of everything that trucks have done up to date, what has been the most amazing thing and made you the most proud of your success?
Wow. Well, to me, the little things we do with charities, is makes me feel good inside.
There you go.
The most impressive thing that the trucks have ever done is when Dan Runte jumped the airplane.
Yes.
727 with the plane, went 202 feet and landed and drove off. And about a year later or 2 years later, he jumped one of our semis lengthwise. Actually, 7 cars, our semis lengthwise, tractor and trailer, and then landed on the ground. To me, that just, when I first started, I told people, well, there's no way these trucks would ever get off the ground. They're so big and heavy and bulky that, they just fall to pieces if they ever hit the ground. But what they're doing today is just still blows my mind. I had no idea that this could come out, that these vehicles could do as much as they have, but it's all due to the changes we've made over the years, the improvements on the chassis and the suspension and everything else, and the driver safety that makes them do that. So
right. Well, you've been True Blue Ford forever, and then you come out with the truck, the Chevy truck for the baseball, and now I hung out with Ross Bernard this weekend in Reno, and we were talking, and I hear that there's a truck out there. I've seen pictures of it that's from a dairy farm now.
We have a sponsor now. It's Vicor,
and
it's a dairy products, and they wanted a truck body with their logo on it, and it's a white truck with black spots. It looks like a cow.
Yeah, like an old Guernsey cow. But I tell you what, it's really classy looking, Bob. Ross pulled up a picture of it on the phone, and at first you think, oh no, what's going on here? But I have to give you kudos. They did a great job. The guys in the shop and the design and all that. It's just really amazing. I really thought it was cool.
Oh, I agree. Bob Trent, who kind of runs that portion of the company, and he got together with the Vicor people and with our design guy and came up with that design, and it's first class. I agree. It doesn't look like you'd think a cow would look. It just looks at the black spots like a jersey you'd have on it, and it came out well. I agree.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with you, man. It really come out nice. We got some questions here from our lug nut fans, Bob, and one of them is from Race Kid 86. And he's the one that come up with Art Alphonse in the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. What are the plans for Bigfoot 19 and 20?
Well, right now they're just going to fill the void that we need more trucks. We've been super busy in the last couple of years, and it just surprised me that it keeps going. I know when I first started in the 80 and everything, almost every 82 built number 2, and we kept building one almost every year. And we haven't built one for quite a few years, so it's new. It's got a better design. It's got a lot more not critical, but more detailed stuff on it. Stuff that we knew that we've changed over the years to improve everything. And it's going to have a different type of body that nobody's seen yet. So I can't even tell you what it's going to be, but you'll see that eventually here.
Well, I knew that was a hush-hush secret, and I don't even know, so I'm not leading on or anything like that. But I can't wait. I really, really can't wait. Bob, if you could change anything right now in the way that the monster trucks are, what would that be as far as bringing back maybe a race series or something like that?
Well, to me, and I know to a lot of the people that follow the monster truck thing, a real race series would be ideal for everybody, and have it open to anybody rather than a select few. We tried to do that years back with Pro MT, and then kind of lost our sponsorship with that. But to me, I love and most of these drivers love real racing, where they can get out and show everybody how good they are, how good their vehicle is, and what you need with a real race series is the same thing we had there is a great timing system, just like they have on drag racing.
Right.
You have reaction time, you have mid-track time, you have the final the speed at the end of the track, and the time at the track to the thousandths of a second. And when we did the Pro MT, it was great because you wouldn't believe how many people were looking at their mid-track time and their speed and looking at the other, and they could figure out, well, they got to change this to get more speed at that point, and then they can win the race. So it gives them more things to work with rather than just, you won don't have a time, but you won. Go on to the next round. But it was. I think the racing is the main thing that we need to come up with is a real good race series.
I think a race series would be very well taken by the fans because, you got fans out there that have really never seen a race series, and I know Everett would be a big backer of stuff like that. And I just think that would be really cool to see one of the promoters come back with a serious race series, a true race series.
I agree. That's kind of my thing. I've been trying to press for that for years, and nothing's come out of it so far. But it might happen someday. You never know.
Yep, that's
Something
right.
else we did years ago with one of our trucks. We tried a round track, like a quarter-mile track. Took it and set it all up for that type of racing. And we were out there testing it, and it just amazed me. I was sitting in the stands and to see that truck roar by at about 60 miles an hour, and going around the curve and sliding and everything else. It was very, very impressive, and that's something too that's never taken off. But the deal with going to a round race, you have to totally re-engineer the trucks. The cooling system has to set up more because you're racing a longer period of time,
sure,
rather than just the short races that we're doing. Something else we found, we lost oil suction by the high bank turns. You have to change the pan and different type of oiling system on it. But and then there's something else that would be critical is the only way you could do that is to race several trucks at a time. We have to have some way of keeping one truck from climbing at other trucks' tires when they rush against each other. But I think a guy could do that with a smooth type Terra tire rather than the lug tire they have now. That might take care of it. So, but that would also be impressive to see. I'd like to see 4 trucks racing around a track together.
That would be awesome. Kind of a NASCAR kind of a deal. That would be awesome. Well, Bob Chandler, if you'll hang on for a minute, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a minute. And, guys, I tell you what, man, I'm a little choked up tonight. So we got Mr. Bob Chandler on the phone, and he's talking monster trucks. Bob, I tell you what, we got a lot of great fans on here, and we got probably one of our number one fans has been with us forever. Most of these guys have been there, but Ryan Roberts is in the house, and Ryan wants to know, can you tell us, is the new truck a Ford?
It's a neuter. It's neither Ford, Chevy, Dodge, whatever.
Okay, you don't have to go any farther, Bob. That's all. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to find out. So, Ryan, you're just going to have to wait like all of us, dude. That's it, man. But Bob, the trucks have been in movies. What was it like to see your creation in a Hollywood film?
Oh, it's very impressive. You go to these and to the place where you shoot the movie, and you're meeting the stars and everything else, and and then your truck's in there, and one of them's driving it, or you're driving it for the scene, and it just makes you feel good. And I tell you, a neat experience I had. I was shooting. Jim Kramer was driving a truck in Tango and Cash.
Yep.
And I was shooting some video, with a Betacam, a big camera, and a gentleman tapped me on the back and says, "Excuse me, I've got $50 million in this film. I want to show it first. Please put your camera away." So I put it away.
Ryan Roberts wants to know, are you going to be at the event of the debut of the new truck?
Of the new truck? Oh, yeah. I imagine, sure.
Well, yeah,
I don't even know when it's going to be. It's been another month before we get it done the way it's going. Another couple of weeks anyway. So,
right.
So, I'm not sure where we're going to put it out.
I tell you what, guys, if you want to call in and talk to Bob Chandler, not many of you guys get to see or meet Bob Chandler, and if you are a true Bigfoot fan, I encourage you guys to call in. It's toll-free. It's 1-888-321-7234. We're going to talk to Bob up until 15 minutes of the show, so you guys got to be calling in. This is your chance. And ask those questions that you've been dying to ask. So, I encourage you guys to call in. Let's see here. Let me scroll through some of these questions here, Bob, so I can get to some of these lug nuts answers here. No, I'm pushing the wrong button. I'm not very computer oriented there, Bob. I'm sorry.
Where are you going when you leave this program?
Well, Bob, I tell you what, I have some personal business that I have to take care of. It just wasn't fair to the folks here at Castle Rock to continue doing this show for free. They have to pay the light bill. They have other people that want these spots that I'm in. We started off from day one being the number one show. We've helped them grow. I'm proud of that. But one of the reasons is I just don't feel comfortable sitting here without sponsorships, and because these folks, they got buildings to pay for, they got employees to pay for and stuff, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to come back, and the show's going to continue with Ross, but he's going to do it on the radio instead. There won't be a live show anymore. There won't be no video footage. It'll be a live show, but it won't be video footage. But I'm not saying that I won't be back, and we'll just see what the future holds. That's all I can say.
You'll be missed.
Well, I appreciate it, Bob. It's just one of those things that I want to make sure that when I come back that it comes back and it's making money for everybody. That's what it's all about. Because Dingo, he's been doing this since day one for free, and he's got rent to pay. Everybody's got stuff, so we got to do that. So here's a question from Trevor. Trevor wants to know, would you like to see your trucks back racing with Monster at the USHRA/Monster Jam?
I would only to see them in the domes that I've been in over the the past years. But I don't like their style of racing. I don't have my drivers go out with the intent of tearing up the vehicle, and I don't like that attitude. I don't think it's a good attitude to have. Kids see that, but they have their own style. They do their own type of racing, but I don't think I'd be interested in it, really.
Right. Bob, we got another question here. It says, Bob, do you miss the King Dome?
For sure. Missed the King Dome, the Superdome, every dome that we've been in. Definitely miss them. They're great venues. All the big venues like that are just dynamite. Probably have been in the Silverdome more than any other one.
Right.
Silverdome Pontiac. Yeah, I definitely miss them.
So, you made the retro truck. What was it like going back and debuting the retro truck back to like day one again?
Well, it is kind of neat looking at the old body. That's kind of what I started out with. It was actually a 1974 Ford, but to see that body out there with the tube chassis and the great suspension that we run nowadays, it was just really kind of gives you goosebumps. But I can remember the old trucks, and they were very hard on the drivers, very hard on the vehicles. There's very little suspension on them. We went from about 4 inches of suspension travel to now they're running 35, 36 inches of travel.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier on the truck, so much easier on the driver, and I don't know. It just to watch. I actually at one event we had Bigfoot 1 and the retro, the vehicle that looks similar to it with suspension, and it was neat to see them both together.
I bet you it was. Jim Kramer's been with you a long time. You can tell that he still has a passion for it. He loves it. It's in probably one of your oldest employees, isn't he?
Jim is, yes. Well, my wife and I were from the beginning with Jim. Jim started when we opened the doors, and he's been with me. He took a leave of absence for about 2 years right after he got married, then came right back, thank God. And to me, Jim should be the next nominee for inducted into the Hall of Fame because
I agree.
He's been around. He probably caused the change from Stage 1 monster truck to Stage 2, and I think he forced the Stage 2 to Stage 3. Stage 3, of course, is the tube chassis with nitrous gas shocks and fiberglass body, and because he was racing in the Stage 2s, and they were so brutal, there were several people that fractured their backs in these trucks.
Right. So
it had to go on to something new, and he's been involved in design and construction and driving of every Bigfoot we've got. So to me, he's been an inspiration in the way he drove. He was fearless, man. He was, he did whatever he wanted to. You know how Jim always hung out the window on the side with his arm out the door?
Yes, sir.
A few years ago, he had to have a shoulder surgery because of that arm probably being ripped off from the hanging onto the truck.
Just the hanging on for dear life kind of mode, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, he said he had to hang out to see where he was going. Well, nowadays with the tube chassis, you can see out through through the floor if you want because of the Lexan on them. But back then you couldn't see that much, And he did a jump in Florida one time at a big stadium rather, and he jumped like 8 or 9 or 10 cars. I forget what it was. And when the truck landed, it was still running 5-ton military axles.
Oh my God!
And it broke one of the axles, just split it. I mean, that's an impossible thing to do.
Yeah.
And he drove away. He was leaking oil all over the place. But how he could take all that abuse is beyond me. But it's a young man's sport, and he was younger. He's much younger than I am, so he took it.
Right. Well, I was running with the driver this weekend that ran for you a little while Larry was out, and Darren Migas. And I was talking to Darren, and I asked him, I said, similarities between the trucks. He said, I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of difference, but he said, I'm going to tell you one thing about Bigfoot. He said, they got some brakes. He said, that truck is amazing the way it stops. And it's all because of that ZF, isn't it?
Yeah, the ZF axles, they have a 6.5-to-1 planetary in them, and they have wet disc brakes in the planetaries. So they always work. You don't have to be on, you can be on one tire and the brakes are going to work, where normally if you have a drive shaft disc on it, and your 2 tires are up in the air, you're not going to stop until they're down on the ground. But
right.
We always have brakes. We've always had good brakes, and I like it that way. I think I feel safer myself just watching my guys. I know they have brakes on the truck.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was very pleased with his ride in the truck. He enjoyed it. I know for sure he did because we sat and talked quite a bit this weekend, and it was cool. Now, can you answer a question for us? Is Rick Long leaving?
Rick Long wants to get out of driving. I mean, he's got a family back here, and I know he came back this weekend. I was in the shop working Friday afternoon. He came back in. He's got one of his son's cars that he had to work on, so they would run, and he has to work on somebody else's, one of his other kids' cars, to work. And he just wants to be around his family more, which I understand completely.
Sure.
He'll probably drive, through the first part of next year, and we'll find somebody to replace him. Probably never replace the quality of his driving,
no.
But we'll find somebody to be close.
No, you can't. When those guys are seasoned veterans, and they've made a name for themselves. Dave Harkey made a name for himself. Dan Runte. All your drivers out there have made a name. Larry Swim has made a name. Rick Long included. And I'm proud to call all of them friends of mine. So, Bob, I'll tell you what. We're going to spend another 15 minutes with you here in a minute, but we got to take another commercial break, and we'll be back. And the last 15 minutes of the show, guys, is going to be call-in times and talk to Roller. If you need to ask any questions, talk to Bob Chandler, unless you see him someplace in person or stop by the shop or anything. We got a question on here. It says, ask Bob his thoughts on Jeff Dane's claim that he called him to ask him questions after seeing a pic of King Kong crushing cars. Is that true?
I called him no. I've got a half a dozen letters from him where he was asking me about different things like that. But I don't know who was the first person to crush cars. We were both in 2 different parts of the countries. But if he did fine, if I did fine, I don't. I'm to the point where I don't care anymore.
It's been an ongoing battle.
It's been fun, and I'm really anxious to meet him. It's been such a long time when we get up to this event. The induction ceremony this weekend, I guess it is, isn't it? And I listened to his interview on, and he sounds very professional again, and just anxious to see him again. It's been a long time. When we started, I started here in St. Louis and started messing around with 4-wheel drive at a shop, and this Dan DeGrasso, who's a local guy, a friend of mine here, he had a Dodge Power Wagon, and he and I'd go out and play, and if neither one of us broke, we'd come back to the shop and hook up with a chain tug-of-war to see who would break and find the next weak link. And he was the first person that I knew that put military axles under his truck, and I kind of followed his suit. I put them under mine. He was running the military tires. I run a Terra tire. That's the basic difference. And about the same time. Jeff was doing the same thing, up north, and was it Wisconsin, I believe, is where he's from.
Right.
And so who knows, but each of us had the same opportunity to go out into the world with our vehicles, and I was very lucky.
Yeah. Well, Bob, there's a couple more questions I want to get to. Was there any positivity for having the wrestling sponsored trucks in the 90s?
I thought it was kind of a joke. At the time, we were working with SRO, the big promoter, and they insisted on us doing that at their shows. So we went along with them, and to me, I'm glad it didn't work out very long. Didn't last very long.
Sure.
But it was silly, but it was put on. It was a joke.
Right.
But, it was one of their ideas, and you somewhat had to go with what they were doing.
Well, of course, it was the times, more than anything, I guess. So
and they were paying the bill.
That's exactly what you do. What the people that paying the bills want you to do, don't you, Bob?
That's right. Back then I didn't have all the sponsors.
Sure.
I didn't like sponsors' name on my truck. I wanted Bigfoot on a truck, and that was it.
Right.
And I had to go by what they said back then, but things are a little different right now.
Right. Bob, we got a caller on the line. Go ahead, caller. Who's on the line?
Ryan May.
Hi, Ryan. How's it going today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You have a question for Mr. Chandler?
Hey, Bob, longtime fan. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I know you and Everett Jasmer have a long-time relationship. You guys traveled around a lot in the early days. He rode with you a lot. Now that he's getting back into the sport, have you offered him any advice on what to do to reintroduce his brand and a driver to put the two together to relaunch USA #1?
Great question.
Everett is his own man. Everett to me, I love telling him he's bullheaded because he knows that he is a bullheaded person, and he's got his way of doing things, and I don't think anybody can tell him any different. I tried for years to get him into the Pro MT Race Series, and he said, as soon as I get a sponsor, I'll be there. And I wish he would have got into it because it would have been great to see him, because he was a very, very good drag race type competitor. He actually had a drag race vehicle before he got into monster trucks. But Everett's a neat guy. He's got a lot of great ideas, and I really respect him for his ideas and his way of doing things. But I don't think I could give him any advice. He's his own person.
That's right.
If he were to come to you for technical alliances, would you advise him or help him out for parts and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we've worked back and forth for years. He had an aluminum wheel that I ended up getting. I had an aluminum wheel prior to that he ended up taking for his vehicles. We worked on a whole lot of different ideas and things together, and he's a great friend, and I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, I would definitely help him like I'd help any other monster truck guy out there too. So
there you go.
All right.
A gentleman.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for your time.
Great question, man. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bob, they want to know, out of all your trucks, other than #1, what was your favorite?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah, 4 has been around and done more than probably any other stage 1 or 2 monster truck anywhere. I mean, it's gone through hell. It's been tore up so many times.
Yeah.
And repaired, and a couple times we thought that it's scrapped and put it back together again. It was kind of the first vehicle that we tried with a cantilever, a front cantilever type of axle underneath it before we went into the tube chassis and the 4-link suspension. We just experimented an awful lot with that truck, and it's been through hell. I don't know how else to put it, but that poor truck has been through hell. And it had quite a few different drivers: Andy Brass, Rich Hooser, Jim Kramer, Ken Kelling, Dan Brutweiser. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Everybody has driven 4 for at least once.
They've cut their teeth on it anyway, haven't they?
Definitely, that's for sure.
Bob, what does it mean to be asked to be in the Hall of Fame to you? What does that mean to you?
Oh God, that's neat. It really is. I've been trying to sit down and write something out, something I can say to appreciation for this, and to me, it's just going to be so exciting to see people that I haven't seen in so many years, like Dio Wilson and Dan Patrick and Jack Woolman and Jeff Danes and Jim Odecker and John Moore and Mike Butters, Mike Welsh, Scott Hess, Stevens, all these people that we've been involved with early on, and they have them show up out there. It's going to be a great event.
Right. Well, you know what, Bob? I'll tell you what. Ryan Roberts wants to know: has there been any effort for buying the trailer park behind the shop for expansion?
No, there really hasn't. We're at a point right now. There's car dealerships all around us, basically, and we think somebody is eventually going to want to buy our property because it's right on the corner and be a great place for a car dealership. And we're going to move somewhere back off the main highway where their property value is a little less, and we could have more property. Because I would like to. Well, I can tell you everything, but I would like to have more property where we can test vehicles, let's say.
That's what that was going to be one of my questions. Would the property be big enough so you could have your own track out there where you could go out and test vehicles and stuff like that?
Definitely, I would want to test vehicles, and I'd also have to have a track there that I could give driving instructions and give people the license to drive an MTRA vehicle, for instance.
Wow, that would be sweet. I mean, kind of like a school, Bob. Would you have a school for that then? Maybe is what you're saying?
Definitely.
Oh,
definitely would have a school. Yeah.
If Roller was younger, Bob, I'd enroll. I'll be your first pupil. I'll guarantee you that right now, man. That's sweet. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. I really, really would. Let's see here. Let me see if there's anything. Race Kid 86 said, sign him up, please. Let's see if there's anything else. If anybody asks, I don't see anything. Bob, if you could change anything, what would you have changed that you've done up to date?
Wow.
What would you have done different?
Tell you what, it's been pretty spectacular, just the way things have gone, and to have the employees that I have had, the great employees, they make it so much easier on me to change anything. I'm sure there's some things, but I can't think of anything right now that I would. That's a question I have to sit down and think for a while.
Yeah. Especially
when I'm 70, I don't have to think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a geezer now. I don't have to think.
I tell you what. Not only were you the first on the show, but I was with you at Pocatello to watch you eat your first burrito ever, man. I'm lucky guy. I'm a lucky man. I'm telling you. I've had a lot of firsts there with Bob Chandler. It's amazing. Bob, if you could, in one word, describe Larry Swim. I love him to death. He's my buddy. I love him to death. But how would you explain Larry Swim to somebody in one word?
Wild. he is our tester.
Yes, exactly.
He takes our trucks to the limits, and we find a weak link. He finds them.
Bob, you mentioned earlier, Jim Kramer taking the trucks from number 2 to number 3. Do you feel that Larry has been kind of in a caliber taking Bigfoot from being, because you've always been known as a race truck. Do you think that he's been one that's taken Bigfoot up to the next level as far as some of the great stuff that's going on?
I'm sure he has, yes. Jim got out of driving, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and to have other drivers do this, Dan Runty, to me, is one of the best drivers.
You got to
believe
it.
He's probably the most conscientious driver out there. He knows the limits of the vehicle.
Yep.
Larry Swim is like I said, he's wild. He does things that our guys normally don't do. But to us, it's a positive thing because we're finding that new things we could do with the truck. He's finding the weak links of the truck. We're finding all kinds of things because of his wildness, I guess is the right word.
Yeah, that's the least to be seen, huh? I said anyway. Well, I'll tell you what, Bob Chandler, I appreciate you calling in tonight. I appreciate your friendship, and if I can do anything for you ever, I don't know what it would be, but I want you to know that I'm always there for you and any of the guys at the Bigfoot shop. I think you guys are class act. I hope to see the Bigfoot name continue, and I look forward to seeing the new truck and all the other things. and I look forward to hanging out with you again sometime soon. Maybe it's going to be at the MTRA banquet this year if you guys are going to be there. But you know what? Your friendship has meant a lot to me, Bob.
Thank you. Yours too, Jeff.
Well, you have a good one, and keep it safe, and like you always do, and we'll see you down the road somewhere, okay?
Thank you, and thank everybody for listening.
Okay, Bob Chandler, thank you very much. All right, guys, we're going to go to commercial right fast, and then we're going to have the last 15 minutes. If you like